Don't Feed After Midnight. I'm Steve.
And I'm Mike.
And we're going to talk some movie trailers and comic books, which is not that abnormal for us, actually.
Oh, it's definitely in our realm.
Nerds! 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 All right, let's talk about this Deadpool trailer that came out. You have to excuse the background noise. We're recording on site someplace, so it's a little, maybe some background noise here and there, but it makes it more fun. It makes it more real. We're real people. This Deadpool trailer, you had mentioned you saw the guy. You read a story about the guy. The prop gun that they gave the guy that plays Cable was 70 pounds.
Yeah, Josh Brolin was with the creator of the movie, like the guy that like is the main one driving it. And the dude was like, "Hey, what's up?" And Josh is like sweating over this 70-pound prop assault rifle from the future, and he's like, "Here, you want to hold it?" And the dude's like, "Sure." He's like, "Be prepared, this thing's heavy." And the dude grabs it, and he's just like, clunk, clunk, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And he's like, "Yeah, I gotta walk up hills with this thing."
That's crazy.
Just nuts.
That's insane. That's a big.
That's a
prop gun.
Beast of a prop. I mean,
and then we look. You see a quick shot of his team members in the back. You notice Negasonic wasn't when they opened the plane.
Yeah.
To get out, Negasonic wasn't there. At least you didn't see her. But
yeah.
there was lots of random people.
Yeah, it was like 4 people there, and the only one that was really identified was Domino, and that's because we knew she was going to be in the movie for so long. But then you got Terry Crews on Deadpool's other side.
I know. I would hope he would be Bishop, but Bishop was never really one of like Deadpool's like I don't even know if they came into contact that much.
See, that's why I think it's going to be an X-Force tie-in type movie.
That would make sense
because that's something that Ryan Reynolds has like voiced that he wants to be the one to do it, and like one of the whole stories behind the X-Force is dude from future comes in, wants to prevent a war. The X-Force literally makes it their job to prevent that war.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
It makes sense that a previous member, Bishop, would be in this movie for that purpose, because I don't see any other reason to have Bishop in a movie.
That's
you know what
true.
I mean?
That's true.
Like, unless it was an X-Men movie. I mean, but
Bishop isn't quite as well known a character either.
Yeah.
As somebody. I mean, he was around for a very long time. He's always been in the periphery since his debut. But
yeah,
I mean, his powers of energy absorption are a little different. You know, Cyclops could shoot him, and he would just suck up the energy and shoot it out of his hands. I mean. And he can do the same thing with electricity, I guess. I've seen, like in the comic book, shove his hand in a wall, grab out electrical wire and, like, redirect the energy. But, so that was kind of different. I'm looking forward to it either way.
Yeah. And plus they'll have super strength, which makes sense for Terry Crews.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that dude just looks like strength.
He's got super strength.
That dude is the
Terry
embodiment
Crews,
of strength.
He has the super strength.
Now,
It's insane.
There's the 2 people behind him, though, and you don't even get a good look at him, so you have no idea who it could be.
Yeah, it could be anybody.
And it's truthfully. It just looks really looks ambiguous with them 2 people in the back. But I mean, I'm excited to see what they do with this one, because I read that the guy that wrote it said that like the first movie, if it were to compare to anything, it would be like the first Alien movie, where it's it's all story, and then you get this crazy moment, and you're like, this is so cool. And it's a masterpiece. Action is just railed to the fucking edge. It's just nonstop, like boom, 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 boom. So that's how this movie's gonna play out, like pure action. And I'm actually so down for that, because we already got Deadpool's story.
Oh, exactly.
And you don't really need much more beyond he had cancer, he wanted to get rid of it, and he activated his mutation. That's all you need. And now he's just, merc with a mouth.
That's true. It'll be a lot different. I mean, I'm excited to see Brianna Hildebrand back as Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I love Brianna.
She was hilarious in the first
awesome.
one.
She's so freaking her straight she keep her straight face like that with Reynolds in front of you. I mean, that's nuts. And her acting ability is pretty damn impressive too.
I love seeing them bloopers too in the first movie, like where they just die laughing because they held it in for like a straight hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, her and I follow her and a couple other random actors on Instagram every now and then, and the stuff she posts is hilarious. Her and her girlfriend are just hilarious.
Yeah.
Her girlfriend always wears a cowboy hat. It makes me laugh. I'm like, that's awesome. Nothing wrong with cowboy hats. Cowboy hats are cool. Let's talk about this Venom trailer. I wrote down. I have a little synopsis of our what we were going to cover here, little bullet points on our podcast. And for the Venom trailer, I just put nothing, just headshot of a guy trying to poop, because that's all I remember. Is just a shot of him going.
I mean, because
that was it.
I mean, really, that's the only memorable thing like they did with it. I feel like it was a waste of a tease.
Oh yeah, it was totally
because
they didn't show anything.
They should have showed it.
That could have been a goddamn trailer for Saint Elsewhere from 1985. Okay, it made no sense.
It should have been like a 5-second shot of Venom, like in suit and everything. That's all we needed.
Oh yeah.
But what did we get? Like a minute and something long trailer with just Tom Hardy talking about how accidents happen, and sometimes them accidents change you. And and then like it was so hokey and like why? But
I mean,
I'm not going to judge the movie until I see what Venom looks like.
Yeah, I just don't like.
But that is the worst marketing strategy I've ever seen.
It was bad.
Why? Like, why would you? That's what people want to see.
They want to see Venom, but by holding back the vision. If they introduced it now, they give a shot of it or something like that. You know, just even just a back shot of him just standing there with a gun in his hand or something. You know, that'd be cool.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that's all they had to do. Just have him turn toward the camera.
I had one job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You had one job. You know, it's just.
I mean, I don't think that movie's gonna necessarily suffer because of trailers. I think the people that are gonna go see it are the people that are gonna go see it. It's R-rated for God's sake, so it's gonna be all adults going to see it.
Yeah.
But like, no, they just royally messed up by not doing that first trailer. They need to show it.
Yeah. Then you got the Solo trailer came out, and that was epic.
Both of the ads like being totally different from each other, totally beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like
Jeff Pennington from M Class Podcast and Ryder, he does another podcast, Ryder Club. Ryder Club? I know. Sorry, Jeff, I forgot. He mentioned that. Well, he made a tweet basically, and he basically said that the way he parsed the tweet out, it looked like he was saying "dong lover," and I didn't realize that Donald Glover's original Twitter name was Don Glover, but the way it looked out, the way it was written, it looked like Dong Lover, and I lost it. I was really, you know. You know,
he looks great as Lando, though.
Oh yeah, dude! I cannot wait. Cannot wait to see him. I absolutely cannot wait to see him as Lando.
Looks so
and
good.
The Falcon, you've been going on about the Falcon's front end.
Yeah, well, because it's longer, it's like pointier, and it doesn't have that traditional magnet hook front end that we're used to, where it's got like the two distinct points to it, and then that space in the middle. But like, you know, they came out about it. They were like, well, back in this time, it was Lando's ship, and Lando was just a dude that liked to make things look flashy and make things look a certain way. Han was the one that took the Falcon and modified it. So like, whereas Lando probably bought it straight out the box, and then just added his little pimp customizations to it. Like, Han was the one that was like, I gotta go fast, I gotta kill, I gotta go fast, I gotta kill. And, like, Lando's just like, nah, you don't need that. We're styling.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what it is. I guess that's why the Falcon on the inside, like, this is so opulent.
Looks so shiny.
Yeah, it's so
like,
clean. Because it's Lando. Lando likes yachts. He likes fancy things. So
yeah, that's something they said they wanted to stretch, because he's in them younger years, and they wanted to explain how he got to the point he is in Cloud City, where he's just the dude running the gas mining operation.
Yeah.
So
even then, everything was really clean, except for the Ugnaughts, where there's a little sloppy.
Like, he's mining gas on the largest planet in however far. And
the gas giant, yeah.
Well, yeah, because Bespin is like one of the largest planets in the galaxy.
This is pure. It doesn't have a core either, does it? Because I
don't think so.
In some of the expanded universe, I think they launched, like, they hid the Sun Crusher in there or something, and it was like, it didn't get crushed by the...
I wonder if any of that remained canon in any way.
That'd be fun. I mean, I would like to see the Sun Crusher as a weapon by the First Order. It'd be fun to have them insert some of those crazy like World Devastators or something fun in there. You know, it was just like this way out there, but typical.
Because we're tired of
over the top.
We're tired of planet weapons. We've seen too many of it.
I've had enough.
We've had
enough.
We've
you hear
had
me?
2 Death Stars and a planet Death Star.
It's pretty bad. I want to mention that Jeff Pennington has a he does a podcast called M Class Podcast, and his other podcast is Rider Club Radio. It's at Rider Club Radio. It's about Kamen Rider, that really funky, cool TV series from Japan that they kind of dubbed, sometimes badly. But Jeff is an incredible artist, so I feel bad I flubbed his other podcast. But Kamen Rider is pretty sweet. I probably not saying it right. I really should watch that show because it looks awesome. But Jeff's a really good guy. You know, Jeff and Josh Henderson do M Class Podcast. And that's they're good guys.
Yeah.
But Jeff is also a very good artist who takes commissions. So if you want some commission work, it's _ Jeff Pennington on Twitter, at _ Jeff Pennington. Jeff's really, really good. So anyway, do it. Dude, help a brother out. He doesn't need your charity, but he likes doing doodles. And if you want to pay him to do doodles for you, he'll do it.
He'll doodle you.
That's not nice. He's a married man. That's true. He's not. Josh, maybe. Josh,
Oh, that's so hot.
for a nominal fee. I'm just assuming. Let's talk about comics. Let's talk about comics now. I read 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
It's not based on the movie, but it's after the second movie, and it picks up with that British African chick from the first movie. I forget what her name is. And the little girl from the first movie has been sent to some kind of care facility in Germany, like foster care. The guy was originally going to be put up against a wall and executed, I guess, for his part in killing the soldiers in the first movie, even though they were just trying to escape the Worsley house or whatever. It's, toward the end, when they get captured and all the soldiers are going to, but he got away. But then they all got split up, basically. So this girl gets contracted by this journalist and his team to go back into London because he wants to do a news story because there's no news getting out, apparently. Like the U.S. government and the other governments of the world have quarantined Britain, and anybody that tries to leave is shot and killed. They kill them. And it's like a scorched earth mentality, but they're not. They're doing experiments on them. It's kind of revealed in the comics. Spoilers, by the way. Spoiler city. That the government's trying to experiment. That's where the disease came from. They were trying to make a super soldier serum, and they released it in the population, and it drove people crazy.
That's so fucked.
It's dumb. I mean, it had good art, but it was really lax storytelling, and the plot turns were really unbelievable.
Yeah.
They had a plot that, a little side plot that went on for, legitimately, 10 issues, and they literally took care of it in 2 panels.
Oh my God.
It was stupid. It was really dumb. I also read, because you recommended it, Batman White Knight.
Yeah.
Where the Joker, Batman shoves a bunch of pills down the Joker's throat, and all of a sudden the Joker becomes sane.
Yeah, he overdoses him in the good way.
But he does it on live camera, because the Joker's telling him,
busted on.
We're friends, you exist because I exist, and I exist because you exist. I'm your greatest fan, and then Batman freaks out. Batman gets unhinged.
Yeah,
Joker runs for city council, and it's probably going to win. You find out there's 2 Harleys.
Some would venture to say he's batshit crazy.
Isn't that funny?
No, but it's really cool. There's 2 Harleys.
Yeah, explain the 2 Harleys thing.
Okay, so they explained it that in Joker's early years, he went to Arkham Asylum. He gets treated, or not treated, but
seen by Dr.
he gets
Harley.
seen by Dr. Harleen Quinzel, who becomes the first Harley Quinn. And she's sane. She just has total Stockholm.
Oh yeah,
where she's
just
in
love with him.
Yeah, she loves him, but she doesn't. But she still understands that he has a problem. So she's with him the whole time, doing stuff with him or whatever. But she knows behind everything that he's gonna need help no matter what. Then at one point, Harley leaves him, and he has no clue, the difference between Harley and some random blonde on the street. So he goes to rob this bank. He goes to rob the joint, And the chick that's behind the counter cutting up, she's like she doesn't like her life. Joker's at a point where he's alone, and he's willing to take anybody as Harley without even realizing it because he's so crazy. He lose tracks of every moment.
Like without Harley, he goes even crazier.
Yeah. So like one day he goes to rob a bank, and the chick that's behind the counter, she's all depressed, and she's cutting herself and this and that, and she just makes the decision to play the role of Harley when he approaches her and calls her Harley. Mm-hmm. So she takes the role and runs with it. And because she's crazy, she's the version of Harley that will do the crazy stuff, like shoot people, stab people, all that other stuff.
More violent than he was before.
Yeah, she enabled him. And that's the main thing. It drives home that concept of there's a good Harley that was just playful fun, but she loved him at the core and knew that he needed to be better.
And kept him under control, though. She would talk him out of doing the really violent stuff.
Yeah, like when Jason Todd got murdered, air quote, she was the one that went to Batman and was like, he's going to do it. He's going crazy. You need to step in. She
told him where Joker and Jason were.
Yeah.
By the time they got back,
it was too late.
And but the thing is, though, Jason was gone, though. That's the thing about this comic is different. Batman didn't find Jason Todd's body in rubble.
Yeah.
Joker didn't kill Jason Todd's mom. At least they didn't come out and say that.
Yeah.
They get back, and Joker's just alone.
Yeah.
And there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder, what's the storyline in this reality? Did he torture Jason to the point he drove Jason crazy and then let him go?
Yeah. Or did he just outright kill him and then dump the body? Or
maybe the stuff in the events of that other series did happen, and they just didn't describe it well.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Either way, yeah. But they just they really put a different perspective on the way Harley is, because you see in comics there was a massive change in how Harley behaved. There was a cool, funny Harley, and then there was the violent, insane Harley. So they merged those two. And it's because there's two totally separate people.
She's older than the newer Harley. The older Harley called her a little cheerleader with
because that's what she was. She was just a bimbo.
Yeah, and the older Harley has her hyenas.
Yep. Yep. And she's much more classy.
Yeah, her apartment is clean.
Yeah.
Orderly,
Meanwhile, the new Harley is totally ratty, living in the ghetto, and yeah.
And the older Harley has a dress that Batman bought her for her court hearings or whatever.
Yeah.
And Batman was really nice to her. He bought her a dress.
Yeah, he took care of her because he knew she was
keeping the Joker on the straight and narrow. But he did also he knew that she was keeping the Joker a little more sane.
Yeah.
That plays into that thing where the Batman, he knew he could have taken the Joker out anytime he really wanted to. If he really wanted to.
Yeah.
He could have taken care of it. But he didn't, because subconsciously he wanted the Joker there. He needed the Joker.
Same way Joker needs him.
Yeah. So.
But now they're saying in the comics Harley, or the young Harley is saying Joker is gonna come back. We all think that he's fine now and whatever. Now she's the Joker's gonna come back. You guys think he might have overdosed and became good again, and then he's taking these new pills that are keeping him okay, and this and that. But he's totally fine. He's gonna be Joker in a week or two. You just wait. My Joker's gonna come back.
Yeah.
And she just keeps on driving this agenda of hers forward because she's hoping that he's going to come back and he's going to take over Gotham again, because right now he's just dominating the politics game.
Oh, he is, big time. He sues the police department and the city for the damages. He's he says, I went to this warehouse to turn myself in, and realistically he didn't.
Yeah. But he spun the story so perfectly.
Oh, yeah. He went there to turn himself in, and this vigilante, the police stick their vigilante on him. And Batman, he brings out all sorts of stuff. Batman's driving off across rooftops in his Batmobile,
tearing the ghetto up.
Tearing the ghetto up. His little baby gets crushed by debris and has to spend 6 months in the hospital to recover.
Terrible.
They take the baby and show her, look, she's better now, but she has to spend 6 months in the hospital because of Batman. And Nightwing and the current Batgirl are just like, you know, they've been trying to keep Bruce under control, but he's going through it.
He's just off the rails.
And he's completely ignoring them. Like he uses them as tools.
Mm-hmm.
You go here, but that's all he'll say to him. He won't really talk to him. You know, Alfred's dying. You know, and Bruce is just losing it.
Yeah,
and
completely.
And you know, he's working with Mr. Freeze, and then they find out that you know there's
back in World War II.
Yeah, the Poison Ivy. They break into the house basically. They don't realize, of course, he's Bruce Wayne's Batman, but they break into the house and in the Wayne Manor, and they find a hidden room, the Mad Hatter and young Harley, and they find, like, Bruce basically finds out that his father was involved with the Nazis making super weapons.
Yeah,
and Mr. Freeze was one of them, and Freeze's parents were. And Freeze's parents were Nazis, and Mr. Freeze was a Nazi. He probably still is a Nazi. He's actually like 85 years old or 80, you know, something like that.
Well, because he was like at that time, his parents were on the Nazi upper totem, you know, and he was like on soldier level at that time. So like, you know, by the time he gets to America and he's like 50, 60 in this era. And he's still trying to take care of his wife and whatever.
I mean, the thing is, like, even if they thaw her out, she still has that disease that she originally has, and there's still no cure for it. So they can't thaw her out because she's going to die anyway.
Plus, it was kind
disease.
It was kind of revealed in the last comic where no matter what, her aging process is irreversible. So if she were to come out of the freezing chamber, she would just deflate into an old lady and die.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like. It's terrible.
There's a really good quote by the Joker in White Knight. He says, he's like posturing or whatever. He goes, I love Gotham, and it's time I paid her back for the debt owed by the Joker. The city deserved better than you, better than the Joker, and better than the Dark Knight. So I'm going to be her White Knight. He's talking to Batman about it. And he says, I know that many of you don't trust me, that no matter what I say, I'll always be the Joker. But I'm also your best bet in holding Batman accountable. No one knew Batman like the Joker. He says, let me help this city by using the insights he's given me. Let's turn the Joker's abilities into Gotham's advantage and stand up against the plague Batman has brought on us. Basically, they turned Batman, which is, truthfully, he is in a way, into a dark vigilante, like
a super criminal is what they started calling him.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
And you know, because you look at, it's true. Because at this point, you know, Bruce is like, he's hurting people. You know, a security guard goes, "Oh, the Joker went that way," and he picks up the security guard and just throws him out of the building and hurts his arm. And he's hurting people just to pursue the Joker and pursue criminals and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, and he's overly violent. He doesn't care who he hurts. You know, he puts people in the hospital constantly through his actions. He's driving the Batmobile, smashing cars.
He's just reckless.
You know, he's going down the street. He's knocking cars left and right and injuring people in the cars, making them go in the hospital. He's breaking people's arms.
Yeah.
You know, like the collateral damage, you know, caused by a supervillain is one thing. You know, that's expected.
Yeah. You're
gonna have to clean. You're gonna feel bad for it. But when, like, it'd be the equivalent of Superman flying through a building, killing 8 people just to get to a super criminal. You know, like,
well, like, that's one thing they touch on early on in the story is there's actually a dedicated fund in the city planning and whatever that goes towards Batman-based events.
Yeah, they redirected the fund, the Hurricane Relief Fund, and all sorts of stuff, which they've never used for hurricanes because there's never been a hurricane in Gotham, apparently.
Right.
But it's like $3 billion, and it
goes straight to repairing the
damage by Batman.
Yeah.
But instead of being used like for the cops, and that's the other thing too is like the Joker said, "Why don't you guys use the Batmobile technology?" He confronts Jim Gordon. He's like, has he ever shared in a tech with you? Has he ever given you technology? He's like, why don't all police officers have Batman's Kevlar? Do you know how many lives that would have saved over the years?
Yeah.
You know, why don't all police vehicles have Batmobile, you know, tracking devices and, you know, the ability to, like, you know, turn a corner at 90 degrees at 50 miles an hour, stuff like that, stuff that would have helped you.
Right.
You know, instead he keeps it all to himself because, you know, he wants to be Batman. He wants to play.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
He wants to be the only
I mean, if you
one.
look at it from the Joker's perspective, or Jack Napier's perspective, it's incredible how well he articulates it.
Yeah.
And like from the view of somebody that's, you know, like, I like Batman comics, but I don't read them a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I just don't. You know, I'm more of a Marvel kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a fanboy, I just like Marvel. But if you read if you look at it from like an outsider's point of view, Batman seems like a dick.
Yeah,
he seems like a complete jerk. You know,
and like it comes out in multiple instances where like people of the community are like, "Fuck are you?"
Fuck you, Baba. Yeah, you know, he hurt me. You know, he beat me up for no reason. You know, he broke my arm because he thought I had information on the Joker, but I didn't. I was just passing by. He grabbed me and just broke my arm. You know,
I can't afford these medical bills. Like,
yeah, exactly. He's literally, people are losing their homes and their businesses because of his actions.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just it's interesting because it does kind of touch on a certain point of the superhero genre where they ignore the collateral damage. And in this day and age, we're not like, we read into that more and more. You know, like we're a little more. I don't want to say we're smarter than people back then, because we're not. I mean,
we're just more aware.
More aware, yeah. I think we're more aware, you know. Plus, we're also adults reading this, you know what I mean? We're not like little kids.
Yeah.
You know, little kids can gloss over a fire going on in the background.
I think like back in the day when, you know, during like the 80s and 70s and 60s even, when kids were reading comics and stuff, it was the moments where like they'd be like, "Hey, Dad, look." And then the dad would be like, "Oh, that would never happen. That's so unrealistic because of this." And now, like, it's like we are that dad that was like, that'll never happen.
That'll never happen, yeah.
But we use that to turn it into a story.
That's true, yeah.
That's why it's so cool.
I have to apologize for the background noise. We're, Mike and I and our alter egos, we raise money for charity at hospitals across the Midwest, and we're in a hospital right now, so occasionally there's background noise. We meant to record last night at the hotel, and we were lazy, and I listened to music and wrote, and he played Minecraft. So
yeah,
it was bad. Worth it. Yeah, definitely worth it. You built a pyramid with your girlfriend on Minecraft.
I did.
Carmichael
Carrera.
Tia Carrera.
Yeah.
Carmen doesn't listen to this anyway. She don't care. She's not going to listen to your crap podcast.
No, she won't. She won't.
She's like, I've had enough.
I would literally have to like make her. Like, I would have to like go to her like phone and like type it in and like bring it up. Because she ain't going to look it up.
Yeah. Kelly listens. My wife is an artist. She listens to art stuff sometimes, maybe out of just boredom at work. You know, art supply stores aren't exactly super, super busy. You know. My friend Jay Clark, by the way, the Jedi Raz, Jay had hit his 300th episode of his podcast. You know, let's kind of go off topic for a second. And Jay got Ralph Garman as his 300th podcast interview. And Ralph Garman is like, you know, he does stuff with Kevin Smith. Ralph has his own shows. He's a really good voice actor in Hollywood, and he's really cool. So that was cool. Like, we have a couple of friends that do podcasts.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a podcast probably, and we'll probably get roped in at Motor City Comic Con to doing a podcast or two. If I can get Mike over there, it's difficult, you know, scheduling wise. Mike's such a busy man.
Always.
Yeah, Jay Clark's podcast is called An Elegant Weapon. You know, from that Star Wars line, an elegant weapon for a better time or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually.
That is
he's
a neat little name.
And he's up to 300 episodes. It's pretty sweet. I mean, M-Class Podcast is doing the same thing. They're up there, too. They got a ton of episodes. You know, they're doing great stuff. And some of the other podcasts I listen to have been really plugging along. We got our first response on YouTube.
That was hilarious.
Which was our very first YouTube response to one of our uploads was kind of a snarky remark about how... and I don't. Apparently, at some point during our Battlefield 1942 episode, I had said something about, like, oh yeah, Battlefield was so sloppy. You could take a bazooka to the face and survive. And somebody took that literally and was like, actually, you cannot take that to the face. It would kill you. And you know, they never did that.
Unless it was modded.
Which it wasn't. You know, it was pretty funny. And I was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I read that.
It's pretty funny though, and that's cool though. It's people are free to respond. I'm gonna have to take Paul from the Continue Show. I'm gonna have to take his advice and just never read the YouTube comics again. Comments, I should say.
Yeah.
Reading the YouTube comments just leads to sadness.
It's a toxic place.
It's a toxic place. Really. But I think that's going to be it for this week. We have a little short episode, only about a half hour. Usually we're a little bit longer, but we're on site, and you can find us online and reach us via email at don'tfeedaftermidnight@protonmail.com. We're on Twitter at @DFAMPodcast now as well. On YouTube, we're Don't Feed After Midnight. Very simple. But we're starting to upload the older episodes onto YouTube now that I finally figured out how to do that properly. It's not a complete train wreck. So you can find us on there. Send us an email if you think there's something you want us to talk about, or you have questions, or you just want to shout out, be a jerk to us, that's okay. We're used to that. We've worked in retail for a long time. So have a great one.